So, we did it. Humanity has conquered death. The dream of immortality, once a fantasy locked away in mythology and science fiction, is now a reality. But now that immortality exists, we have to ask, what happens next? What does a world without death actually look like? At first, you might picture a utopia. Eternal youth, infinite possibilities, a world where no one ever has to say goodbye to a loved one again. But look closer, and you'll see something far more disturbing. Immortality hasn't saved us, it's doomed us. You wake up in your tiny, windowless apartment. The air is thick with a scent of industry, a reminder that space is now the most valuable commodity. Housing is no longer just expensive, it's nearly impossible to obtain. Overpopulation is rampant, a daily reality of a world where no one dies, but new lives are still being born. You used to dream of moving into a bigger place, something with a view, maybe even a little outdoor space, but there is no moving up anymore. The elite have monopolized the good living conditions, and the rest of humanity is left to fight for whatever space is left. The walls around you are thin, and through them you hear the muffled voices of countless others crammed into the same overcrowded existence. As you take a step outside, you're met with an ocean of people, all packed together in an endless maze of neon lights and suffocating crowds. The streets, once filled with the constant hum of movement, are now stuck in a state of gridlock, both in traffic and in life itself. Every square inch of space is occupied, and privacy is an ancient luxury. The air is thick with smog, the consequence of endless industry, as every company scrambles to produce enough resources to meet demand. But it's never enough. Fresh water is a luxury, farmland has been exhausted, and entire ecosystems have collapsed under the weight of an unending population. Even if food can be grown artificially, the sheer number of people needing to eat has made starvation an everyday reality for the lower class. A massive holographic screen flickers to life, broadcasting the face of a smiling immortal, the ever-youthful emblem of eternal rule. Progress is eternal, they declare, their expression frozen in unwavering confidence. The future is bright, and together we shall conquer eternity. But there was no together. There never was. Immortality was never meant for you. The people on the screen have been in power for centuries, their grip only tightening as time goes on. They do not age, they do not die, and they do not step down. Politics ended long ago. Laws remain unchanged, and the world is ruled by those who have had centuries to perfect the art of control. Without death, there is no reason for the old to make way for the new. Those who rule have seen every rebellion, every uprising, and they have learned how to crush them before they even begin. As you push through the crowds, you make your way to work. The job is the same as always, mindless, repetitive, in service of machines you will never own. But there was a time when hard work could lead to something better. Before, there was the promise of promotion, the hope of retirement. But now, no one leaves their position, because no one above you dies. The workforce is frozen in time, with no new opportunities and no end in sight. Your labor is endless, your exhaustion, eternal. And if you ever grow too weak to work, you are simply replaced. Mortals are expendable. Beyond work, entertainment has changed too. Once movies, books, and music reflected the evolving tastes of new generations. Now, everything is dictated by the immortal elite. The same directors, the same authors, the same musicians have dominated for centuries, unwilling to make way for new talent. Creativity has stalled. New voices are drowned out before they even have a chance to be heard. The world feels stale, stagnant, a museum curated by those who refuse to let go of the past. There have been those who tried to fight back. Resistance groups attempted to storm genetic labs to steal immortality for all. They were wiped out before they ever made it past the gates. Other developed viruses meant to restore aging to force the elite back into mortality, but the rich were always 10 steps ahead. With technology so advanced, it might as well be magic. As you return home, you pass an elderly beggar on the street, a rare sight. Few mortals make it to old age anymore. Most are worked to death before their time. The rich never have to see their suffering. Their world is pristine, untouched. But down here, below the shining towers, reality is different. No one cares for the dying. No one stops to help. Even relationships have changed. Love, once built on the promise of growing old together, has lost its meaning. The immortals do not marry mortals. They see no reason to attach themselves to someone so temporary. Amongst mortals, there is no long-term commitment, no promise of a future together. After all, what is the point of building a life with someone who will never escape their stagnation? Romance has become transactional, another fleeting moment in an existence where no true progression occurs. Lying in your bed, staring at your ceiling, you think about what it would be like to live forever, to be free from death, from disease, from pain. But would it be freedom? The world would never change, the same people would rule, and the same suffering would continue without end. Without death, humanity has lost its ability to evolve, to progress, to renew itself. Maybe mortality was never the curse people thought it was. Maybe it was the only thing that ever truly moved the world forward. And now, trapped in an existence where nothing ever changes, you realize that immortality wasn't salvation. It was the end. If you want to know exactly how we managed to reverse aging and make people biologically young forever, check out my previous video where I broke down the science behind it.